All right. So, good morning and welcome to
Yes.
today's webinar, which is on the positivity. So, the idea behind today's webinar is, we have seen a lot of meetings, Zoom meetings, and meetings on other platforms where the issues which are related to travel trade has been discussed at large. So, everybody knows about them. So we are well aware of the challenges and opportunities, whatever is lying ahead. So but through the response and the feedback which we were getting is, people are getting a bit demotivated. So to inject the positive vibes, we have invited our panelists today from different regions, from different fields, I would say. So let me announce and welcome them all today. First of all, Mr. Vimal Roy. Vimal is MD Trace Consulting Hong Kong. Welcome, Vimal.
Hi, thanks. Good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Virat Devar. Virat is former AVP TUV SUD South Asia. Welcome, Virat.
Thank you, Sachin, and I appreciate you have invited me here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then Mr. Gaurav Seth. Gaurav is head trade sales, Merlin Entertainments. Welcome, Gaurav.
Thank you, Sachin.
And then last but not the least, Tejas Ambani. Tejas is chief advisor for Golden Travels Limited, Hong Kong. Welcome, Tejas.
Thank you, Sachin, for creating such a nice initiative of positive vibes.
All credit to
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you. All right. So, without wasting much time, I'll just jump on to the first question, and which is very much on the positive outlook on the present situation. So, straight away going to Vimal. Vimal, over to you to start the conversation and the discussion. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Sachin. I'm just going to share my screen. I've got a short presentation. Can you all see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, great. So, hi everybody. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. As is with the theme of the webinar, I've decided to call this helpless to helpful. I'm not saying we are all helpless, but sometimes even I can't help feeling helpless, right? Because there's so many things that are out of our control today these days. So I just thought I'd call it helpless to helpful, and I want to give you some or suggest some practical strategies and tactics for the travel industry in order to prepare you for the period when this is over and business comes back. I'm not going to say to normal, but when business starts to come back. So how do you prepare yourself for that? Just a quick overview or a quick summary of who I am. I have been in the travel industry for 22 years, travel and aviation. I started my career with Singapore Airlines. I worked with Jet Airways in India. I've lived in 6 different countries in 10 different cities. And I've always been very, very close to the travel industry. I've worked with loyalty firms, I've worked with airports, I've worked with airlines in various capacities, both as a supplier as well as a staff on the inside. I've developed markets. So I opened up Amritsar, for example, for Singapore Airlines. I've worked with agents. I've worked with MICE operators. I've worked with DMCs in many aspects. Okay, so I'm hoping that some of the things I suggest today will be useful for you. As we look at the current health crisis, there's a feeling of helplessness sometimes, as I've said. And we are facing things which, as individuals and as organizations, we have never faced before. So we are struggling to find some certainty in the uncertainty and make sense of what's happening. We cannot do this by ourselves. So I'm suggesting that, the best way to develop answers and approaches to deal with this situation is by working together with each other. And that's why we're doing a webinar like this. If we focus on our selfish interests, we won't be successful. But if we try to work together, collaborate, talk to each other, learn from each other, maybe we can achieve a little bit more and be in a better position when we come out of this. We have to be agile, adaptable. And this is very complex, right? There is no one right answer. There's many, many different answers. And as things change, we have to adapt. So we need to be agile, adaptable, as I said. We need to have empathy. We need to have compassion. We need to share respect with each other, and we need to collaborate. I think these are the things that are going to be important for us. If you forget everything else I say in the next 5 slides, please just remember these few things. So let me try and move the Oops. Sorry. There you go. So, you know, last Friday, I flew from India to Singapore and I transited to Hong Kong. This was the scene at Changi Airport. This was taken by my video. The lights are all on, but as you can see, there's only 3 people in the foreground, and those 3 are all security staff. You know, as an aviation geek, as an intrepid traveler, as someone, as a consultant working in travel and aviation for 22 years, this is scary. It's depressing. It is unprecedented. It is inconceivable. But guys, my English vocabulary is not the point. The point here is that as a consultant, my income has come down to a grand total of $0, just like all of you, right? So I know what you are feeling, and this is where I come from today. So here's what I want to suggest. I'm not going to go through each quote. I'm sure you've seen many quotes like this, but I like the last one in particular. The character Chuck Nolan, you know, he says, I know what I have to do. I've got to keep breathing because tomorrow the sun will rise, and who knows, right, what the tide could bring. So the point here isn't platitudes or feel-good quotes. It's about your mindset. Everything today begins with your mindset. It's not about being blind to troubles or being, you know, unrealistic and unrealistically optimistic. But it's about being positive, open to change, being agile, as I said, committing to doing something, as opposed to sitting back and doing nothing and saying, I can't control anything, so I can't do anything, right? It is not useful to be negative. It's time to focus on the future. Take this opportunity to evaluate and reevaluate some of your business assumptions, some of your personal assumptions, and so on. There is a lot of fear and unhappiness and uncertainty. But you know, this is due to the fact that we just don't know when the recovery is going to happen. We don't know what we don't know. So I want to try and help all of us, as I said, to focus on a few important things. All right, I'm going to start with some hard data and evidence from the past. Now, if we look at aviation in general, which is what brings people from country to country, I mean, of course, you can look at rail, you can look at cruise, but this is the largest contributor to any movement of people on a global scale. You know, aside from just 10 years or 15 years with the occasional blip, you can see that travel has generally grown all the way. And I know we've all seen how this is the worst recession since the global depression and so on. But believe me, people are going to start flying again. The question is going to be, to what extent? That's the only question.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to share this slide with you, you know, because this is BCG. This was released about 2 days ago by Boston Consulting Group. They're looking at some demand recovery scenarios in travel and aviation. I can send you the link in the chat later. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is, you know, there are many people smarter than me, smarter than us, who are looking at the world and trying to understand how to make sense of it. So the likelihood is in 12 to 18 months, there is, you know, the highest likelihood of some kind of demand recovery coming into place, right? It's a guide for us. Whether you believe it or not, it's not the point. This is best worst case scenario. You should hope for the best, but you should also plan for the worst. That's the point of this. You should be looking at this and asking yourself questions like, how can I get ready for the recovery in 12 months? How can I make my cash flow last for 12 months to 18 months? Now, again, I'm trying to show this to you to give you some information to be prepared, to be a little bit more certain about the future. And with that, I come to my framework, right? So this is a framework that I've developed because I've worked with a number of clients who have asked me very, very similar questions. Vimal, what should I do? How can I respond? What actions can I take? So I came up with this framework, which is a relatively simple one, but it can go quite deep. Now, I'm not going to go through everything. I'm happy to share this with you later. But there is a few things I want to highlight. The first thing in any business is cash. Cash is king or queen. I don't really care. Doesn't matter. Liquidity, you need to start looking at where is your liquidity, where is your cash coming from, right? What is your cash flows? What are your operating and capital budget forecasts? Is there any performance happening? Is there any cash coming in? Is there any, where were the sources of demand and revenue from the past? You need to plan what is your cash outflow going to be. You know, if somehow your business is funding your lifestyle also, then you need to be thinking and projecting your cash flows for next month, next 6 months, next 12 months, right? And then you need to bear in mind that perhaps you might get some governmental support. Now, the second key thing I want to draw attention to on this slide is the nerve center right in the middle. Now, if you are leading an organization with people whose jobs are dependent upon your business, you know, you have to have a key leadership team together, huddling together every single day, including Sunday, aligning yourself on all the assumptions, the developments, the sales, the collections, the payouts, the legal developments, the government announcements, everything. Just get on a call, 30 minutes, ask everybody to share. This is going to ensure accountability, that nobody is sitting back and just shaking legs and taking it for granted, right? The nerve center should rely preferably on a single source of truth. Don't look at all these rumors and all of that. Rely on a single source of truth for the facts and for the numbers, right? And you should all align yourselves around this. The third thing I want to stress here from this slide is maintain two-way communication. So talk to people, talk to everybody, talk to your partners, talk to your employees, and please remember to be truthful and honest, because everybody is in this together. Nobody can say, "Theek hai, chal raha hai, everything is fantastic." Nobody can tell you that. You will not believe them, right? So consider fact-based communication. When you are releasing any paperwork, when you're releasing any emails or anything, make it fact-based. Don't put rumors or don't put thoughts and beliefs in there, right? When it comes to your planning, adopt a zero-based approach. So look at everything in your business and ask yourself, if I had $0, is this important? Is this something I need to find money to spend on, right? The next thing is consider how your customer attitudes and requirements will have changed in these last 2 months, and how will they change in the next 6 months. I have been putting a lot of posts out on how passenger behavior, organizational behavior is going to change in the next 6 months to 12 months to 18 months. You need to start thinking about this for your segments of customers as well. But remember, this is also a human tragedy globally. So empathy is very, very important. In general, think of this as a break to upgrade, right? Which is one of our discussion points later. You know, invest in intelligent systems if you can, in automation if you can. Base your decisions on data, not on rumor. Embrace some kind of digital transformation. If you didn't have the time before because your business was just running every day, now you have the time. This is the break to upgrade. So think about the tools that will help you to do your business faster, right? This is one of the main things that all travel businesses are going to learn during this time of the COVID-19 crisis, okay? I thought I want to highlight some opportunities that you might want to be prepared for. I think, for example, the first thing is many people are saying business travel will rebound stronger than FIT or tourist traffic, right? Businesses, especially large businesses, will want to get their teams together. They will want to start flying again to see people face to face. In general, the rebound is probably going to be more short haul and regional versus long haul and international, because people don't want to spend too much time in crowded places, in aircraft, in trains and all. So they will try and keep it to shorter travel times. You might want to look at health and philanthropic more than just regular wellness retreats and all of that. These are global considerations that are becoming super important now, precisely because of the health crisis we are in. There is also some kind of expectation that many governments will relax visa requirements. So this is something you need to think about and say, okay, can I somehow take advantage of this? But the main thing I want to talk about is also the adversity advantage, the last point here on the slide. Now, what do I mean by adversity advantage? You know, this is the time when you can think of doing things that are unthinkable in normal times. What do I mean? Go to your partners, go to your creditors, go to your customers and ask them about renegotiating contracts or ask them, try to sell them vouchers for future travel, something that you wouldn't normally do in normal situations. You will be surprised. I think many landlords, many creditors are willing to come back and say, okay, I'll give you a little bit more time. I will, I will buy vouchers from you because I know I'm going to travel. So no problem. I will help you with the cash flows, right? Now, last but not least, I just want to leave you with one new idea, which I'm not sure if many of you would have been thinking of, but consider your use of social media as a tool to generate business, not to post selfies or aaj kya khana kha rahe hain. No, the world is on social media. Look at the numbers, right? 60% of the world is connected to the internet, and in India, actually 50% of the Indian population is connected, with 60% of that population connected to social media. COVID-19 has shown us that we cannot sit back and rely on traditional means of doing business anymore. Traditional means phone, looking at people, going for meetings, attending conferences. Things are changing. You need to start enlarging your marketplace. You need to look at new streams of income. Change your thinking around how do I connect with my potential partners and customers. The reality is that more and more of the world is going to be on social media at from today onwards, right? And the most important thing here is trust. How do you build trust over digital? How do you build trust in your business? Because this is more important than anything else going forward tomorrow. Now, if any of you want to know more about this, please get in touch with me after the call. This is how you can get in touch with me. And thank you very much for listening. I'm very happy if you have questions later. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Vimal. So very positive outlook to start the discussion today. So now I would move to Virat. I mean, after hearing from travel experts and people from travel background, we have someone who is into a job which involves a lot of traveling, as we discussed lately, Virat. So what would be your perspective to start the conversation today? Over to you, Virat.
Thanks, Sachin. Thanks, Vimal, for the excellent presentation. Am I audible, Sachin?
Yes,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yep. Please go ahead.
All right. So, friends, basically, I have spent almost 2 decades in a German consulting firm, which was basically we were into auditing, inspection, training, consulting, testing. And apart from my responsibility as a management, I was involved in training, delivery, performing audits in more than 15 countries. And for last 19 years, my traveling, I would say, was around 1.3 lakhs kilometer per year, regardless of the travel mode. So you can imagine I am representing the customer or consumer rather than your domain or the industry that you all represent from. But let me assure you one thing, when we're talking about the positive outlook, nothing is going to be so sad as we predict, so depressing it is predict. I can tell you one thing, that it's not a breakup with your customer. It is just a breakdown. So take it from the customer perspective that this breakdown will soon be normal. To be mobile is a human nature. Mobility is a human nature. You just look at the kids around us at the age of 2.5, 3 years old. They pursue their parents, their uncles and aunts to take them out of the home. So I think we look forward to explore the world. We want to move out. We want to see. And the moment you step out of home, your business starts. I can tell you, although we are using digital solutions for various businesses, but human mobility, human interaction will continue. This is not the first time that this pandemic has come on this planet. This is not the first time that we had wars in our times. Such kind of catastrophic have affected mankind. But for sure, things will be normal. Now, when I say things will be normal, I would like to agree with what Vimal has said, and I have noted down some points for you all. Although I'm not coming from a travel background or a tourism sector, but I can say that accept it as a control, alter, delete by God. Just accept it. It is just rebooting. And once you have a rebooting, you have a chance. You have a chance, as Vimal said, you need to reorganize your operations. You have a chance to think about it. You need to re-engineer your processes. You need to rethink on your strategies. You need to restructure your
one quick point, Virat. Rebooting is a fantastic analogy. Just don't use the same software as before, boss.
Of course. Yeah, rebooting is, I understand what your emotions behind it. So I agree with you. What I'm trying to say is, let's consider this breakdown or this lockdown situation as a time to reorganize, re-strategize, rethink. And I think we just have to accept the reality and move on. Nothing is going to stop. It will resuming very soon. Of course, it may take some time. It may take some time. Let's say initially only the local mobility will increase because of some nations might not open their borders. Some nations might still have restrictions of traveling there. But eventually things will be normal. And I think we must use this time, as Vimal said, that we have to take the best out of this worst case scenario. These are my views on this. Sachin.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Virat. Now, I think very valid points which everyone is quoting. So now I would like to invite Gaurav for the discussion from, he represents Merlin Entertainment. So Gaurav, over to you, and would look forward to hear from you. Can you hear us?
Yes, Sachin, thank you.
Over to you.
Sachin, firstly, thank you very much for inviting me to be a part of this elite panel. I think it's an honor to be a part of this team. I think all the points which have been mentioned until now, I think have been very positive. I think very apt to how the environment is currently. I just want to bring a connection to this. And before I do that, I'll just quickly maybe correlate the situation that we are in to nature. So I think what is happening and what's happened always is that a lot of animals undergo this thing called hibernation. I think all of us today are in hibernation. The minute an animal goes into hibernation, he goes off to sleep. He uses his body fat to replenish. Obviously, when he comes out a little leaner, but he comes out hungrier. I think this is what we need to be taking away from how the nature reacts to such a situation. What we need to do is we need to be positive. Unlike the animal kingdom, at least while we are in hibernation, we have time to rethink. We have time to think, re-engineer, think about the strategies that what we've done in the past and how we can go forward in these testing times. From a travel perspective, I think how we need to correlate this is, and many of you have sold a lot of Europe, and there are many times where there are coach breakdowns. So you are traveling from one city to another, and there is a coach breakdown, and you are helpless. You may miss out on a few sightseeing which were planned for the next city. But that doesn't make you stop. That doesn't make you start crying, oh, I missed out. What do? You enjoy yourself. You start thinking, okay, I will miss this. Can I cover this on day 2? Can I cover this on day 3? So we need to start looking at how do we overcome this, because this is a fact. Coronavirus is a fact. Business getting affected is a fact. What we need to do is we need to think about how do we come out of this. And to me, use of technology, re-strategizing what we've done and how we want to do things, these are the important key points that we need to look at going forward. What do you say?
Sure. Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks for your inputs. Now, inviting Tejas. Tejas, can you hear us?
Absolutely. You can see a ray of hope backing me out.
Sure. Welcome to the conversation. Over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sachin. And thank you, co-speakers, for fantastically putting across all the points. I cannot put myself into the positive note unless and until I'm sailing through it. So I would second the thoughts of all the co-speakers that unless and until you feel that pain, you just cannot relate to the audience. I am also like you. You all are passing through this difficult phase of time, but I question myself that whether it is life or economy, we have to choose for ourselves. I am also under pay cuts. As Vimal said, he's down to 0. Even the same situation is with me. But the only thing which I'm holding myself is my positive attitude. And the same thing is with the team what I had in Hong Kong. If you see the analysis coming out from Hong Kong, I've seen this coronavirus from the lockdown level, and it has grown to the pandemic level. So if you see the curve is really flattening, actually, if you see the trajectory, and China being the epicenter of this COVID is actually accepting the new normal of life, and it is back on its production line. You can see that, and we can see exodus of people moving out, migrating from one city to another. So world will not stop for sure. It is, as rightly said by Virat and Vimal, it is rebooting, it is restarting itself. That is what I have embedded the thought right from day one, that it is a restart of the world. And now when the world is restarting, you just actually don't have much to say, right? And one more thing which I personally feel, the human fundamentals as a humankind are very strong. Fundamentally, we are very strong. We have seen wars, we have seen battles, we have seen, I would say, ages when 2008-9, then when there was a global crisis, and we can see Uber coming up, we can see Pinterest coming up. Not many companies have come up and survived, right? So when the fundamentals of citizens are so strong, I think we should just need that attitude, and the industry which we belong, that is travel industry. Any one of you, if tell me, we all have a very strong resilience power. We have seen days. It's not about how we are going to survive. It's all about that how we look at the situation right now. So yes, we all have our operating cost. There is no denial to that, but we cannot afford to pull down ourselves and break our positivity and get discouraged and quit. I think that is not the option I would really choose for. So curtailing down to the first question, these are my points. I'm not going to lose down the positivity. I have my calculations in place, what I'm going to do and what travel industry should do. That we will cover up in the next express control mechanism topic. This is all from my side. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks, Tejas. So you are quite positive. Good to hear that.
Absolutely.
Now I'll jump on to the second question, which is quite relevant as per the present situation, which is on the expense control. How to control cost? This is more worrisome for friends from the travel industry. So starting with Vimal on the expense control mechanism, if you can share some practical inputs going ahead. Over to you, Vimal.
Hi. So the document which I just shared with everyone in the chat has more details. If you look in the notes, they're all there. But generally, I said something just now, which there are many ways to control costs. Okay, the easiest way is just fire everyone, shut down your office, cost khud pa khud control ho jayega. Okay, but that's not the point. The point is you want to control your cost in a way that is sustainable. Not that you go to zero and then when the recovery comes, you are struggling to hire people, you are struggling to use the right technology, you are still in the same old way that you were before and so on, right? So adopt this mindset of zero-based budgeting, meaning sit down and look at every aspect of your operation and ask yourself in 6 months, in 12 months, in 18 months, if the business starts to come back, which of these things that I'm spending money on today will I need at that point in time, right? If you are, for example, hiring a consultant, what's the point of that today? There is no point to hiring a consultant today. He can't do anything for you. I can't do anything for you. Don't hire me also. I'm telling you right now. I can't do anything. But if you have some technology that you are waiting to upgrade on, that you are waiting to implement, these are the things where you should say, okay, let me look at this now and let me see if this will somehow be able to allow me to manage my demand or my supply, or does it, can I go online today, for example? Maybe you are not online. Maybe you are still functioning in a way that is, email and telephone and GDS. Maybe what you want to do is you want to say, okay, how can I put my business online? Now, this is a worthwhile investment because the world is going to go online. So transactions to go online. So these are the things when I say, think of zero-based budgeting. Zero-based means, what do I need to spend on for tomorrow? Do I need this? I don't need this, cut it out. Okay, that's my simple input for now.
Sure. Thanks, Vimal. So I buy your points going online and zero-based budgeting, very valid points for everyone to follow. Now we would like to hear from Virat also on the expense control mechanism. Can he share some key points? So the idea is to collate maximum points and maybe shortlist few of them to use
I
them
understand.
practically.
Yes.
Thank you. Over to Virat. Virat, can you hear us?
Yeah. Yes, Sachin. As far as the cost control is concerned, I'm sure you already have an associations and common interest group which are working on GST holidays. They are trying to appeal for kind of a moratorium benefits. Many other Manrega are being used for people on job or to avoid job losses. There, of course, these machineries, these mechanisms. The common interest groups will definitely work with government to give you a comfort that you need at the moment. But I totally agree with what Vimal has said. If I look at our sectors, which I was mainly dealing with manufacturing or any other such similar sector, we call this entire activity as a value stream mapping. You really need to find out each process of yours, where actually there is a value and where there is non-value adding activity. I think your sector will end up on to pay as you use model. I'm not against employment. Let me clarify here. But you will pay for the work and not pay for the time that person spends in the office. You will not pay for the time that person is using his social media and not having work. You will have to find out what are the value-adding activities and what are non-value-adding activities. You have to really segregate it out and try to minimize or eliminate those non-value-adding activities which is incurring cost to you. If you want to fly high, you have to be leaner. You have to give up things which are heavier. This is what I have learned in my tourism, my traveling life. You guys always have a control on baggages. I think we need to be leaner. We need to be agility. We need to have an agility. We need to identify where do we create value, where it is non-value-adding activities. Shut it down. If those non-value-adding activities is not really helping you and just incurring costs, you have to remove those non-value-adding activities. And especially with automation and digitization coming in, you can really do it in a much easier and efficient way. So you have to go back to your drawing board and find out where are you incurring costs. This is a great time to do that. More leaner you are, higher you fly. That's what I can contribute here, Sachin.
Sure. Thanks, Virat. So the idea is to go back to your drawing board, sketch out your expenses and earnings, and make a equal comparison to that and decide accordingly. So now moving to Gaurav. Gaurav would like to have your. Okay, Vimal, you want to say something?
Just a quick one. Sorry, Gaurav, I didn't mean to do the thunder. Just one second. Sorry, there's someone who's really noisy.
Seems an alternate webinar is going on, looks like.
Yeah. Okay. What I was going to say was this. We keep talking, we are so concerned about, so somebody's asked the question about cash flow management and debt. I think these are all issues which I'm sure maybe Gaurav or Tejas can deal with. But I just wanted to give you one perspective on this. Demand is not just going to suddenly come back to you in 12 months or 18 months. Nobody is suddenly going to come back to you and say, hey, boss, I want to do this, I want to do that. No, you have to generate your demand because everybody is going to be going after the same customers. So if you don't just be concerned about current expenses, be concerned about future revenues. And your future revenues is what you can work on today without spending extra money on social media. This is why my last slide was on social media.
Well said.
You have to present yourself on social as a viable alternative, right? For the business, for the services that you offer. Do that now because everybody is watching social media now. Or boss, free hai. Nobody is asking you to spend money on Facebook ads. You can do it for free. Absolutely free. The only thing that you spend is your time.
Absolutely. In agreement with you, I think it's
Sure.
right.
Thanks, Vimal. This is quite valid point that people have time now and they're spending more time on the social media. So this is the right opportunity to grasp. So over to you, Gaurav. Welcome back, and we'd look forward to hear from you.
Yeah. So honestly, I'm putting it a little differently. So obviously we are talking about cost. I think instead of focusing on cost centers, what we need to now start focusing on is on smart investments. So what we are doing internally is we are not calling it cost because cost for some reason has now become a very negative word. So we are looking at smart investments. So what do I mean by smart investment is that in the past, we've done a lot of marketing campaigns, maybe some thought through, some maybe not really focused. So what we're doing is internally, obviously, really looking at how do we invest smartly. Because as I think Vimal rightly said, it shouldn't happen that we stop cutting on everything and later on realize that now business is back and we have nothing to take care of it. So how do we invest smartly is something that everyone will have to start working on. At Merlin, what we're doing is, as I think Vimal just said, is now we are using a lot of social media. How do you start interacting with your client? I think that is a big focus for us because while people are in hibernation, but they will travel back. So how do you now start creating the culture or the need for the client to come to our attractions? So use of social media, smart investments is what we are looking at as a brand, and cutting on costs. So as we speak, what we are trying to do is use e-tickets across, be it for groups, be it for FITs. Earlier we had those physical tickets. So things like these, because we have a downtime, because we can do a lot of testings, these are the things that we are looking at, because then maybe if we get into the e-ticketing mode, the client gets a confirmation in his hand before he comes to our attraction. We may not really need a call center because we've got a huge call center in UK. So things on those lines is what we are getting into, use of technology to have a seamless experience for the client. These are the things that we are looking at to look at reducing the cost, if I may say.
Nicely put up. Nicely put up.
Sure. Thanks, Gaurav. Smart investment is what I like the most. So now over to Tejas. Tejas, what is your modus operandi? How you are controlling the cost, or maybe your management?
Yeah,
If you can
that's
share
going to be
some
an
practical.
interesting. Absolutely, that's going to be an interesting reply, which I would like to share my viewpoints. So what has happened? We see a lot of reports coming in from giant companies who publish reports, McKinsey, or it's like people who have been into this, I would say, role of working with top tourism and travel companies. So everyone is like looking forward for a situation which is absolutely unprecedented. I personally feel it is the person who is running the business. And as rightly said by Vimal and Virat, we have to go back to our drawing boards and see what exactly we can do. So let me put it across. First thing is that we have to accept the situation that we are facing this. We just cannot run away from this. For sure, there is a cost control, but there are variants to it. We just cannot say that, hey, we start laying off the people. As mentioned in previous discussions, that we need to understand what are the KPIs and KRA of a particular person and what that person is going to bring into the organization. So now this only depends on an individual's capacity to foresee the situation. So assume that we are in lockdown right now. Everyone in this forum would be absolutely wrong if they say that, hey, the business is going to start in the next few months. No, there is a detailed phased manner. So first is your lockdown, which I would say would last, keeping in mind the geography, for at least 1 or 2 or 3 months. We will then enter into the easing down phase. So first is your lockdown, and then we enter the easing down phase, which is for at least 2 months, where people will say, okay, now things are normal. Let me get the toolbox and fit up my things which have been totally went wrong. Third would be the return of the demands, as rightly mentioned by Vimal. So the third stage, returning of the demand, which has to be created, it is not going to be created with a magic wand. It is like people working with us has to involve themselves, right? So we just cannot lay off the people. And the fourth stage is your return of the business, which I personally feel should take time till December. So for me, as my perspective, running a DMC, working in a travel agency, working in a corporate, and now working for a DMC, I have gone back to my investors. I have gone back to the drawing board. I have seen what are my costs. I have negotiated with my landlord. I have seen that how can I reduce my cost to take care of my employees till December, because I personally feel December is the time when the demands will return. So I have reduced very smartly 60% of my cost, but I'm not cutting down. Absolutely, I'm not cutting down on any kind of marketing expenses. Yes, I would cut down on the variable costs. Say, for an example, I would cut down on the payment gateway charges. I would do so. I personally have taken a 60% of salary cut. I don't mind sharing in this forum. Even the same thing is with my team. We understand the responsibility. If we don't have the cash, as rightly said by Vimal, cash is king or queen. I am not obsessed to run the business. I need to have the money with me. Okay, so I strongly recommend for a small setup, just don't feel that you will be left behind in the race. Somebody, your competitor would go ahead. If you feel, go for hibernation, go for incognito position for a few months. No harm in that. And what you should do during this time, we have a fantastic topic which is going to be covered, survival to revival. And this break is not going to get worse. We can definitely upgrade our skills. That point is definitely been covered by all the co-speakers. So just absolutely don't worry about the time. December, I personally have targeted my time. I don't know. It's all depends on your business size. It's your nerve center, as rightly mentioned by Vimal, right? So you guys have to think that what exactly you are looking forward to. My KRA was to reduce 40% of my expenses so that I can take care of my team and I can run the company till December, which I've done it. I've done my job. Thank you so much on this situation. Thank you all.
No. Thanks, Tejas. Good to hear key practical points from you, which you are exercising right now.
I would like to add one more thing, which is like possible in India, is that small travel setups, they can go into a co-working space. Say for an example, if you're spending 25,000 as a rent, and you just have to do your social media marketing, search engine optimization, or any kind of activity, you guys can come up together in one place and work and share the rent. This can be an effective way of reducing the cost. And yes, one more thing, say for an example, in Hong Kong, we have a fantastic government support, which Vimal also mentioned that. You as industry people, you as an association, and I think magazines like Mice Affairs, which has been headed by Sachin, you guys can play a fantastic role putting up this point to the respective tourism associations, to the Ministry of Tourism, that yes, we need this as a demand. We contribute 10% to the GDP, my friend, as far as India is concerned, to the tourism. Maybe it is not a recognized industry in terms of tourism and in terms of trade and commerce, but I think we play a major role in at least mobilizing the country, mobilizing the travelers. So please, with folded hands, if you really would like to have that kind of mental peace, you guys need to come forward. I'm sure things are being worked on this particular front, and put up the point to the government that yes, we would need this as a support, as a demand.
Tejas, sorry, I'll quickly add in one point to what you
Please.
I may not be the right authority to talk on this, but I'll quickly tell you that I was on a webinar a few days back of TAI, the Tourism Association of India. And what the TAI Association has done is that they have, Travel Agents Association, they have written a long document, a charter of demand to the government also. And the good part is, the positive part is the government has started replying to them, has started taking them seriously. So we may see, and I'm saying I'm not the expert, but I just want to maybe put this positive part to this conversation is that the government is responding and there are positive discussions happening at the back end. And we may see something good, just the way as Hong Kong and Singapore see that there's a support from the government. We may see something like this coming from the Indian government also for our industry.
So I think we have a very nice question coming up from Nirav Shah. I think the specific areas of marketing and sales. So I think Nirav, we have been covering up this questions and related answers in the last 25 minutes. But yes, it's a very good question. And maybe Sachin can send the summary to him.
All right. So thank you.
Yeah.
No worries. I just want to jump in on Nirav's question. You know, he's asking for 5 specific things that we will do when the demand comes back. Look, I think that depends very much on your business. Okay, so let me answer this without being a consultant. It depends very much on where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. Everybody's today is different. My today is $0. I'm a consultant. I work on this. I don't have a physical product to sell. I'm not selling tickets. So my today is different from your today, Nirav, right? And it's different from Tejas's today, right? So it depends very much on where you are today. Now you might look at your business today as a hotel, as a hospitality company and say, you know, my marketing sucks. I am too dependent upon one market. I'm too dependent upon one GDS. I'm too dependent upon one whatever, right? So your today, you need to identify where your today is. Then you need to say, what do I want tomorrow? Do I want to say that my largest source market is only 10%? That means I have to find 90% elsewhere. So these are the actions that you need to. So that's the first thing I will focus on. My strategy. The second thing I will focus on is I will make sure that when the demand is there, I can accept the money and I can deliver the product. If I cannot accept the money and deliver the product, what is the bloody point? That is the meaning of cash is king. When the demand is there, you must be able to accept the demand and you must be able to provide the service or the product. These are the 2 or 3 things I will focus on from day one. I hope that answers your question.
So I think he's also looking forward for specific kind of words. So yes, Nirav, I think you should really go for digital marketing. And that is the way where you can really spend quality time and see how you can, promote your products down the line at a very low cost. So digital marketing is I think there are so many nice, effective, cost-effective courses are being run right now, ranging from, I would say, in the Indian rupees, 1,000 rupees or something like 100 Hong Kong dollars. So you can equip yourself in next 1 month and 2 months and really gear up for something new to come.
So, all right. So thank you so much for giving us some practical points which everybody can, use in their businesses. As we discussed earlier, there are a lot of opportunities and methods which we can adopt in daily lives and daily businesses. But still, we have a third question which is relevant: is the journey from survival to revival. Although we got some nice points from Vimal, Gaurav, Virat, and Tejas as well, but still we need more of these. So continuing on the same question, I would like to invite Vimal to jump in and share some key notes on journey from survival to revival. Over to you, Vimal.
The first thing, and probably the biggest thing, is your mindset. I cannot say this. I mean, I know I say cash is king, but cash is king for your business. But your business is dependent upon you. So if you don't have the right mindset, the positive mindset, look, my bias, I'm always very biased, and my bias is towards action. Not, I mean, I don't go into my Facebook. If you guys follow me on Facebook and Instagram, I don't post on Instagram. I don't care about what I eat, what I look like. My Facebook posts are all related to work. My LinkedIn posts are all related because I'm forming my mindset. My income is zero at the moment. If my income is zero, my only concern is how do I get from 0 to 1, from 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 100. This is my mindset, right? My mindset is focused on positivity and on action. Sochne, when you think of something, it's not going to happen. You have to think, but you also have to do. So for me, the biggest thing I will say when you talk about survival to revival is look at the revival, benchmark your survival, look at your cash flow, look at what you need to survive. Of course, you need to do all that. But then revival, actual.
Whereas quote is from TBU to the travel agent.
Sorry, somebody. I was just
Somebody.
Focus on the
Abhishek
mindset,
wants to.
but then do the actions. Don't just think. Take the actions towards something as opposed to nothing. Don't sit back and wait for things to take over you.
All right. So thanks, Vimal. So I think Abhishek wanted to ask something. Abhishek, do you have something to say? All right, maybe later. So I'll move on to Virat. Virat, what's your take on the same? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. I hope you can hear me as well.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so this topic of survival to revival, and I've seen many posts nowadays on specifically on your sector that it's going to kill us. It's going to be very dangerous for the entire ecosystem. Yes, it is definitely going to be. There is a dent on the ecosystem of your sector, but let me tell you, survival is not going to be a challenge, except for those who are chronically sick and not managing the business, even though they knew that there are some chronic challenges. Most of these stakeholders will survive. There is absolutely no doubt about it. And I think in the question number one, we have already agreed that life is going to move on as usual. Having said that, if you, as Vimal mentioned about revival, I think the fundamental requirement of a revival is demand. And demand, apart from your liquidity issues, if you really want to generate demand, you probably have to repurpose your service. If as an Indian, if I look from the just sitting at the boundary and look at your world, as a country, India is incredible. We all know that, and we have been preaching that. But from the tourism perspective, have we really unleashed our potential? Have we really exploited and explored all the opportunities that India offers to the world? I'm not saying X country is in a trouble or a Y country is in a trouble right now, but there is a fact that some of the biggest countries in the world, where the best tourist destinations, has their dent on their image right now. And I see a possibility for a country like India to, collate all their synergies, as Vimal put up in this first point, identify areas where you can really re-synergize, for example, philanthropic tourism, traditional healthcare tourism, traditional education systems and tourism associated with it. If you want to create a demand, you have to repurpose your services now. You have to revisit your service offerings. You have to revisit your catalogs and create a demand. I'm not counting at the moment the professional tourism or a professional traveling demands. I'm talking about those areas where you can generate more demand, as we already have a potential in countries like us. So a revival depends on how much you synergize. A revival depends on how much we repurpose. That's it from my side.
All right, thanks, Virat. So repurpose and I would say innovate in your existing product line. That is also required a
Absolutely
lot.
correct.
Yeah, thank
Absolutely
you,
correct.
thanks.
Innovation is the key.
Yes, thanks. So inviting Gaurav now. Gaurav, what would be your comments on the survival to revival story? Thank you. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Sachin. I think before I start, I'll quickly mention one very nice line that Vimal had said in his presentation. Is that we don't know? No. I think that is very apt for the current situation. Today, we don't know when things will bounce back. We don't know when demand will start. We honestly don't know a lot of things. We're shooting in the dark as we speak. And I've been a part of a lot of webinars in the last few days, hearing a lot of speakers in terms of how our market will come back, how things will be, when will it open. I think all of us are shooting in the dark. I think what we need to do, and for the revival which we want it to happen very, very soon, I think what we need to do is we need to start being prepared. Being prepared, what I mean by being prepared is that how will things change? How will the demand, obviously there will be a demand, but what are the things that will change in this demand? I'll give you an example of what I mean. In the past, when our clients used to come to us as a tour operator, clients used to come and tell me that I need a 4-star hotel. Maybe today or maybe tomorrow when they come to us, they will ask us that I need a 4-star hotel, but I need this level of cleanliness. I need to go to sightseeing where there are only 100 people at one go. So the demand from our clients will really change. So this is what I mean by being prepared. So in my opinion, what will happen is that going forward, cleanliness, because I am representing an attraction, cleanliness or safety at an attraction will become my biggest USP, may become my biggest USP. So things on these lines is what we need to start thinking about is how do we cater to this new demand or this a separate avatar of demand which will come our way, and how as a business, how as an attraction based company, how am I prepared to cater to this new, because clients will be thinking on these lines when tourism comes back. They will be thinking a little more on the safety aspect also. So as a brand, at the back end, we have a health, safety and security team. We've already started thinking of when we reopen, what are the things that we want to give to our client so that he's assured that he will not face any uncertain times going forward. The other good part maybe I should have said this earlier also, is that while we've been talking about things not being the best, what will happen is that post the recovery, post Corona going away from our life, I think it will become a very, very level playing field for everyone. I think what we need to do is, while we are worried about the smaller travel agents in India, I think what they need to be a little positive about is that maybe the biggest tour operator, maybe the smallest travel agent, I think it will become a very, very level playing field for just about everyone. And people who understand and cater to the client's needs may really take this game away from others. So what we need to do is, for us to revive this industry, we need to start thinking of what do I need to promote when the industry hits back. That's from my side.
Sure. Thank you, Gaurav.
I just wanted to add something. You know, don't forget that the customer mindset is going to change tomorrow, and that's the very important point Gaurav brought up. I mean, you don't have to be a theme park operator to think of that. Even as a tour operator, as a travel agent, as a hotel, as an airline, you know, I don't know if you guys have seen the video from Delta. Delta has started to brand the word clean. You know, clean. How do you brand the word clean, boss? I don't know how to brand the word clean. But if you look at that video on YouTube, Delta talks about a new standard of clean, Delta Clean, right? Delta Airlines. Now, everybody needs to think about their customers. Your customers tomorrow could come and ask you, should I go on this tour? Should I attend this convention? Should I attend this event? Should I travel by bus? Should I go by train? Should I go by air? Are you prepared to answer those questions? As the travel agent, as the person helping as the service provider, are you capable of answering those questions? You must be in a situation, you must not be there to say, I think, I hope, pata nahi, I don't know. You have to be able to say, don't worry about flying in an aircraft because, and these are the 5 reasons. If you go on a bus, you need to do these 5 things to be sure. If you go in a train, these are the things you should be worried about, or these are the things you should take care of. So you need to put yourself in these positions. And how do you put yourself in this position is you need to read up, you need to plan, have an FAQ, for example, a very simple thing, have an FAQ. If my customers ask me about this, these are the answers I can give. Then after you develop the FAQ, train all your colleagues, train all your staff, right? So these are all practical things you can do today. You don't have to wait for 6 months or 12 months.
Thanks, Vimal. I think a very valid point. So I think the job of a travel consultant is gonna, be more important. I think this is the right time to upgrade. They need to be in touch with the latest updates, which all tourism boards or maybe hotels are upgrading or, practicing these hygiene practices. So they have a valid answer for their audience, for their customers, I guess. Yeah. All right. So now inviting Tejas. Tejas, what is your take on survival to revival? I think you have got a good number of points. Yeah. Over to you.
So I would be touching the basic practical points. So it has been already covered few points by Virat, Vimal and Gaurav. So, okay. So first of all, we all have to accept that basically it is going to be a remodeling of the business from my side. So when we say remodeling of the business, so there is possibly a paradigm shift in consumer behavior. So we will not find the same customer coming back to us with a standard package demand. Okay. So most important, I feel that if we really need to come back to the revival stage, the responsibility lies on us. We have to build up the travel sentiment of the customers. I have been talking every alternate day to the people in my society where I stay, in a gated community. So it's like, yes, they have a fear that how should we travel? Is the travel safe? So first thing which I figured out that, hey, Tejas and hey, travel industry, me being a DMC based in Hong Kong, working from India, and if I need to generate demand, first of all, I need to tap is the pull up of the customer's travel sentiments. And in this, trust me, it's not an easy job. Right from the tourism board, right from the travel partner, right from the in-destination suppliers like attractions, we will all have a responsibility and then a big responsibility to play in this. People will come up right now, coming up with questions like, what are the hygiene and sanitation, demands? So this kind of things like hygiene and sanitation will become a very basic customer expectation. Very basic customer expectation. It was like roti, kapda, makan. It was like bread, house, clothes. Please make sure that now we have got 2 more things attached to the customer's demands, that is face masks and hand sanitizer. They would not prefer traveling in groups. The FIT will increase, right? So we individually have to look into this unprecedented situations, and we have to bring in the best, I would say, the business competencies and maintain a very healthy balance sheet. We are repenting right now because we have not been able to do competitive business in the past. I would talk about the pre-COVID levels. We have been facing severe competition. The first thing of the point of revival, apart from the travel sentiments, we need to see that we are maintaining a healthy balance sheet. If we have the money in the balance sheet, we will be able to revive very fast. And that's what I personally feel from my perspective. And trust me, guys, not trying to give a saint word, but this is personally, I'm so confident that tourism industry is a fantastic strike breaker rate. It's all about how we as a team develop the sentiments of the customers, and travel sentiment build up is a big responsibility right from the tourism board, airlines, in-destination partners, travel agents, and also the DMCs. That's my point. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tejas. So the last one we have is a break. It's a break to upgrade. So I think we have covered some of the points earlier. So still,
Most of the points, yes.
So I'll keep this question still open for all the panelists. Anyone who wants to take, please go ahead. If you have something to say.
Yeah, Sachin, Virat this side. Sachin, can you hear us? Sachin?
Yes, Virat.
Yeah, break to upgrade, although we have covered these points, but as a customer, let me ask you some questions to your industry. If I give my passport for a visa purpose, how do you protect my data? What is the data privacy practices that your industry is implemented? What is the accountability of my safety at a particular place, as Gaurav was mentioning about the hygiene part? What about the social accountability? Do you use child labor? How do you demonstrate that? How do you demonstrate that you do not use child labor? You do not support such things. How do you ensure that we do not end up into cases like POSH, prevention of sexual harassment? It's across the party line. I mean, it's not with the customer, with the supplier, it's about the entire ecosystem. This time, as you said, break to upgrade, is to relook at your processes, relook at your products, relook at your operations, and touch on those issues which matters to the customer the most. May it be hygiene, may it be data privacy, may it be social security. And this is a time where you have to re-look at your processes, re-look at your practices, and come out with a kind of a sector-wise good practices. If you adopt good practice, I'm not talking about licenses that you guys hold, because license holders are the license regulatory authority are supposed to ensure all this. But I'm sorry, if you look at your industry, I have identified 3 key points. In last few years, you have been into unhealthy, irrational and unsustainable practices. Airlines are adding aircrafts. Airlines are adding new routes. Agents are giving pocket burning discounts. Can you sustain this? You can't sustain like that. One has to have a good practice. Customer focus is the key for you. And go back to your drawing board, identify which areas which are absolutely missing in your entire delivery, and upgrade yourself. Rise to the occasion. I agree with Gaurav completely. Customer tomorrow, once the market opens, will come with a new set of requirements and expectations. And you all have to adhere to those requirements in order to revive, in order to upgrade, in order to sustain your business. That's what I wanted to cover.
Thanks,
Well
Virat.
said.
So, any other panelists? You're also welcome to share your views on upgradation.
So
Really,
I think.
Sorry, Tejas.
Okay, sorry. So
Tejas,
I
go
just
on.
want to. Thank you, sir. So what has been going on in the past few days, and what we feel is that everyone is talking very subjective, and nothing is concrete, right? So only thing which I feel when I talk about the subject of it's a break to upgrade, I personally feel the only thing which is objective is I feel that the skills which we have and which we develop, that's the only objective thing which we hold right now. Everything else is subjective. When the market is going to come back, when the market is going to revive back, when the demand is going to come back. So only objective thing which I feel is what we invest in ourselves right now. Right from the first slide of Vimal to the conclusion made by you and supported by moderator Sachin, I think we need to upgrade our skills, and this is the best time. We have always wanted to, say for me, I always wanted to launch few products which I've already dreamt of, which is something like not easily available in the market, and I'm working on it. My team is working on it. Right? So it's like people would come up with something like a virtual tourism down the line. That, hey, can you just try to give me an access to the Vatican Palace, or can you give me an access to the Eiffel Tower once the situation gets normal? I would like to see that. I don't say that people will not travel. People will definitely travel for sure, but at least a kind of connect which you can make it right now with the people. If you can try to create a kind of virtual tour, maybe say for an example, I being based in Hong Kong, I can approach a tour guide that, hey, why don't you go out and have a complete Lang Kwai Fong, which is a discotheque area, which is a clubbing district, shoot a video, send it to me, which I can send it to all my customers, which I can send it to all my travel agents, which travel agents can integrate in their website and can then further relay to their customers that, hey, sit back, enjoy the clubbing night on a Friday night with a coffee, tea, beer, whatever, and enjoy the Langkawi Phone District, something like this. I'm able to connect with my customers then down the line. So this is what I would like to say, that I'm investing a lot of time into increasing my knowledge, upgrading my skills, because for sure this is going to end soon, but yes, we don't know when. So it's the right time to just invest in yourself. Thank you.
I think I wanted to just about say the same points. I think you took it.
I peeped into your, this contents actually.
So I fully agree with you. I think this is the time as tour operators, as travel agents, I think we need to upgrade our skills. We need to attend all these trainings, all the tourism boards, all attractions like ours are taking a lot of webinars right now. I think this is the time we need to upgrade our skills. We need to upgrade our selling skills. We need to upgrade our knowledge. And the other thing that we at least, and I'm sure a lot of attractions, a lot of tourism boards are doing, is there are a lot of Facebook lives going on. So today morning I sent a WhatsApp to all my broadcasting list that we are doing a lot of Facebook lives. Why don't you come and see my attraction firsthand, so that tomorrow when a client is asking you that what happens when I go to a sea life in Sydney, you already are aware because you've seen a glimpse of what happens at the sea life. So attending all these things, I know it's hibernation and a lot of people are taking it as a chutti time, but I think this is the time to invest in yourself. This is the time to really understand and learn a lot of things which are happening around you, because the minute it bounces back, clients will ask you. In fact, they would be asking in the past also, but this is the time to gain that knowledge. I think we need to invest in ourselves right now.
All right.
So there was a show which has come up in Disney, and my kids said that, hey dad, there is a virtual tour happening for the Disney Paris, right? So this is something like building up and inciting a particular client that, hey, you have seen this and now you can go and visit. So this phase is like, if we can have some kind of virtual tour products, mainly from hoteliers, mainly from attraction companies like you. So say for example, I belong from a DMC segment, right? So I have already spoken with my tour guide. I need 4 tours right now. Give it to us, and we can then share it to the travel agents, right? And they can then embed them into their website and go for further circulation. A very nice point from Mac S. Even Louvre Museum in Paris has started virtual tours free. Fantastic point, Mac. This is going to be the future, trust me.
Yeah, so I had 2 points to make under this issue of break to upgrade. The first point is, let me deal with the second point. The second point is this, we're all talking about how people are, suddenly everything is going online, there's videos, there's virtual tours and all. The question you got to ask is why? Why is this happening? Why are they doing it for free? Right? There are many reasons, of course, but the one main reason is that they are keeping themselves in your mind, in your frame of mind.
Yeah.
Right? So that, look, everybody knows Disneyland. I can tell you a secret. 6 months ago, I spoke to somebody here in Hong Kong who's one of the leaders in Disneyland Hong Kong. 6 months ago, when everything was hunky-dory, yeah? I asked him, I said, hey, why don't you do any, do you have salespeople? He says, yes, 12 salespeople. I said, what are you doing on social media? 0. Why? Oh, I cannot let my salespeople go on social media. Why? No, I don't trust them. I said, but you're sending them to meet clients, right? Yes. How can you send them to meet clients but don't trust them on social media? Right? Now, the point is this. Everybody is online today because they are preparing for tomorrow when the demand comes back. I'm sure tomorrow, Disneyland Paris will still continue to have certain videos, but they may not make the whole tour free. But because they have done it, you will remember, you as a customer will remember and say, yaar, mujhe jana hai. I need to go. I've seen this now. I love it. I love the virtual tour and so on and so forth. So that's the first thing I want to say. Learn something from all these companies that are going online. Now, the second point I had to make was this, we, myself included, when I was leading a few companies and all in business, my biggest problem was I don't have the time to sit down and take stock of all my businesses and where my things are broken, right? I've got 101 things which I have to do today, right? I have number 1 and I have 99 number 2 things to do. This was my life in business, in a company. Website link is broken, SEO needs to be updated, new marketing material needs to be shot. One client wants this, second client wants that, third client wants that. Then I have an account management meeting. Then I have to go and do this for I have 100 things I had to do. This is the time. This is why it's called a break to upgrade. You have the time, you have 6 hours, 8 hours a day to think about your business, to evaluate where your past revenues were coming from, where they were falling out, why were the customers not converting, what was breaking down with your website. You can work on your website today. Everything is available today. You can go and hire somebody sitting in some other country to fix your website today. You don't have to wait until the demand comes back. Hire a designer to fix your website, to fix the marketing materials, build your marketing materials. If you are stuck in a hotel, tell all your staff to shoot 6 videos, 10 videos each. You will have 100, 200, 2000 videos. You can edit those 2000 videos and put them in your website as marketing material. These are all practical things that will not cost you much money that you can do today. This is what it means when you say you have a break to upgrade. So when the demand really comes back, you are fantastic. You are much better than you were before. That's what the upgrade is about.
Agree, absolutely.
All right. So thanks for these valuable inputs. I think it's like more than 1 hour for this discussion. So I think lastly, we should also take some questions. I request all the panelists to have a look at the chat box. If you can pick some questions there. And I also request all the participants, in case you have some questions, please type those in the chat box so our panelists can take these and answer that for you. So open for the questions now. And while we wait, I saw one question which was like, once the market is open, we can expect a price war which will be there. So maybe if I can, take the comments from any of the panelists. Gaurav, would you like to take this?
I think what Tejas said was very right. We need to keep an eye on our balance sheets also. In the past, because things were very good from a travel perspective, there was a lot of cutting cost, trying to get somebody else's business by reducing your margins. I think, hopefully, I really pray that all these things stop. As a brand, as Merlin, we really do not want to get into reducing our costs. What we are discussing, what we are planning internally is that how do we Indianize our attractions? How do we see? Because we don't want to focus on the India market by cutting our costs. What we want to do is we want to Indianize our attractions. We want to give value adds. I think to me that's the focus that everyone should be adding, is that how do I add value to my clients' holiday or clients' travel, not by reducing the cost. I think it just doesn't take us anywhere. All of us should be looking at how do we better the experience rather than reduce the cost. So I hope and pray that we don't get into this price war going forward when things come back.
Sure. Thanks, Gaurav. Tejas, you have something to say on this, right?
No, I already mentioned. I was just trying to give it's a very nice question from Ashraf Burne. So what is going to be the MICE future once social distancing might be maintained? So as I rightly said that the business is not going to stop. Incentivizing an employee, incentivizing your channel partner, that is your dealers, will definitely happen. People will definitely not go for the cash incentives. They will definitely go for the international tours, whether it is domestic MICE or whether it is an international MICE. Yes, I would say, as mentioned by Gaurav, Vimal and Virat, and also seconded by me, corporates will start asking you about the hygiene standards. Trust me. So you have to absolutely ensure yourself that the DMC, the suppliers are on that expectation management. So customer expectations will change. Overnight, for sure, we are not going to get an important or an immediate response to all this kind of business, but for sure the demands will start building up, and we need to ensure that hygiene standards are maintained. This kind of requirement will plug into the corporate request form. That is what I would like to say that.
Sure. Thanks, Tejas. Any more questions we can see in the chat box?
Yes, I think Vinay, has also got a very interesting question. Do you think unexplored tourist destination stands better chance than popular one once the scenario gets better? So allow me to, I was just studying on this particular thing when I was preparing my product listing. So the demand would be like COVID destinations and COVID-free destinations, right? So as far as Hong Kong as a destination is concerned, it's quite densely populated, right? It's quite densely populated. And because of its proximity to China, we all were under threat that, hey, it's going to really burst out like anything. But if you see, the cases in Hong Kong are just 1,100, if I'm not wrong. And the incremental cases is just now 1 digit, not 2 digit or 3 digit. So almost we have tried to control the contagious infection, and people are moving out freely. There is no restrictions. There is no lockdown. Yes, the basic thing which people are trying to imbibe in themselves is absolutely blocking the face with a mask. Every place is getting sanitized. That is what the thing will come up. Every place is getting sanitized. You enter an office, the elevator, the parks, everywhere you can get ample supplies of sanitizers. People carry with them. People are maintaining that social distance. So yes, the demand will come up for, I would say, I was talking with my teammates yesterday that we should come out with green tours. We should come out with that. So for me, it's like everything gets over. I would love to go for a place which is absolutely serene, which is very much less crowded. I would look forward for some kind of destinations in the world, which can give me a particular adventure tourism or something like I can have a very serene family time or friends time. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tejas. Now, there's another one which is coming is unity among hoteliers, suppliers is essential post-COVID. Request all to be considered, accommodate request depending on situation. Yeah, of course, that will be a valid point. But Tejas, picking one point from yours that the sanitization would be given more importance. And as Vimal rightly said, this is the time to use the digital social media. Don't you think we can use our channels? Maybe, you know, as a travel company, we can be in touch with our suppliers, various tourism authorities, at various destinations, ask them for pictures or videos of sanitization post-COVID, and circulate it to your clients. Maybe you through your social media channels and all.
Okay, so I give you a very live practical point. So I was speaking with my transportation company in Hong Kong. They have started sanitizing the car. They keep the sanitizing bottles. Right? So these are the very basic thing. If you go to Madame Tussauds, you go to Disney, you go to any of the parks, they already have this kind of measures. If you talk about Universal Studios, they already have this kind of measures. So things are getting built up from right from that level. That yes, sanitizing, it's going to be the basic thing. And I think Vimal can touch base the point about the airline sanitization. I'm sure people would have been starting working on that. Right, Vimal?
Yeah, so it's not just sanitization, right? There's sanitization is almost like the basic. See, I have a theory why so many people find this interesting. You know, we have been, I don't know how long you've been in Hong Kong, Tejas. I've been in Hong Kong for 9 years. In 9 years, I have seen funny things which you guys never see in other parts of the world. People wear masks when they have a cold, okay? Every lift, the buttons, there's a sign there that says sanitize every 4 hours. And whenever there is a flu season, sanitize every 2 hours. The handrails on the escalators are sanitized by people, both at the top and at the bottom. So sanitization is going to become something which other parts of the world are going to learn from China and Hong Kong, right? That's the first thing.
Actually,
when it comes to airlines, you know, airlines are doing all sorts of things now beyond just sanitization, right? Because sanitization affects turnaround times, it affects delays, lots of things. Airlines are now deploying kiosks. Etihad has deployed a kiosk on a trial basis that is touch-free. So you don't have to touch anything anymore. You don't have to touch a screen that other people have touched before you, right? It can read your it can read your face, read your passport, and then it can also detect your temperature by infrared thermometer, right? One of my clients, which I'm talking to at the moment, hopefully he pays me, is doing an infrared camera that can capture up to 30 people a minute as they walk by to see whether they have a fever or not. Right?
Thermal cameras. Okay.
Thermal cameras. It has a range of 0.5 degrees, right? So there is a first level of automated check. So you don't have to have somebody standing there with a gun, with an infrared
turbo check,
doing hundreds of times a day. You have an automated system that's a first layer check, and then if somebody is flagged out, the second layer check, right? So There's all of these things. Airlines are going to change the way they serve you food. Crew are going to wear gloves. I was saying in my blog the other day, you can't see it. When you wear a mask, you can't tell whether I'm smiling, no? So the whole customer experience thing is going to change from now on. If everybody has to wear a mask, how do you know whether I'm smiling? Right? You have no clue. Customer experience is going to get redefined. So sanitization is one part of it. Prevention and maybe automated health checks is another part of it.
True.
The third part of it is even customer experience. You have to redefine the whole thing from now on. Boss, what does customer experience mean? So there's a whole list of things that are going to happen with all the players in the travel ecosystem: hotels, airlines, cruise industry. I don't know, man. I don't know what is going to happen to the cruise industry. It's going to be a very tough road for the cruise industry. Theme park operators. All of these things are going to happen.
Thank you. Thanks. Valid point, Vimal.
Thanks, Vimal. I think we should take a last take from Gaurav on the entertainment attractions point of view, as far as the sanitization or the other standards are concerned. So, Gaurav, you have something to say?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I think our focus internally is to keep our standards as high as possible. For us, what happened is that because we have attractions across the world, China coronavirus hit China at the start. So we already took a lot of learnings from what happened in China across all our attractions in Asia, in Europe, in US. So we were maybe a little ahead of curve in terms of reacting of how do we face this situation. But I fully agree that sanitization, hygiene, all these things will become a huge factor in a client deciding whether not to go to an attraction. And we are taking it very seriously. We want to be the first one to take this initiative internally and come out a little better prepared in terms of handling such situations.
All right. Thanks, Gaurav. So, any more questions or?
I think we have pretty good conversation, and I think it was quite a learning session for me also. Co-chairing with Vimal sir, co-chairing with Gaurav, co-chairing with Virat. I think he's not there. He has another webinar. I suppose he's there. Is Virat there?
I'm here. Yes,
Okay. So I think let's be positive. This is what we can do as of date, as of time, and nothing is going to end. We really look forward to see how best we can pass this situation, and please keep on learning something. Try to add skills to yourself. That is what I am doing myself, and I've been lucky enough to get this time, which I've been always looking forward to, that hey, I should get some time to invest in myself, to learn something, and which I'm getting it right now.
Sure, lovely words, Tejas. So, would like to hear from Virat, Gaurav, and Vimal. The last comments, and then we can sign off.
Sachin, Virat this side, I think your entire ecosystem requires to adopt good practices, because your customer is going to come with a new version of expectations. You need standardization in your ecosystem. You need standardization in your practice. Currently, the standards are not confirmed. As I mentioned, I would again repeat, there are certain critical aspects like hygiene, as we discussed at length. Data privacy is equally important. You really need to go back to your drawing board and identify what is my value proposition. And as Tejas was mentioning about the green tours, we are talking about sustainability. We are talking about carbon footprint. We are talking about prevention of child labor. We are talking about healthcare. We are talking about data privacy. I think all this needs a good practices to be identified for your entire sector. And someone was chatting very rightly that the entire value chain or entire supply chain is ready. Are you all united? This is something which is worrying me as a customer. Are you all united? Are you all ready to adopt good practices together and offer a value proposition to the customer? With that note, I thank you, the entire all the group of participants and the anchor. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
My last bit on this would be, just to go back a full circle, there's many things we are not able to control at the moment. There are things we just don't know. I think this was, Gaurav underlined this earlier as well. So the only thing that is within our control is ourselves, our mindset, our business to some extent. So stop worrying about, the 100 other things that you have no control over. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Whether you blame God, whether you blame government, whether you blame China is irrelevant to me. It's irrelevant to anybody. Makes no difference to anybody. The only thing you can control is your response to the situation. So your mindset is the first thing, which I said earlier. The second thing is look at your business. Look at what's hemorrhaging in terms of money. Look at what you need in the future. So if it's hemorrhaging money now, but it's going to make you fantastic in the future, try to maintain that, right? Try to see where you need to upgrade, what you need to. These are all things within your control at the moment. And then with any spare time that you have, I suggest you go and take a shower, because I get my best ideas in the shower. Honestly, every morning I get fantastic ideas when the water's on me. And apparently there's some science to this. When the water is falling on your head, and my head has no hair, so I feel the force of it. When the water is falling on my head, it calms you down. And I get so many fantastic ideas in the morning. I'm telling you, try it. Innovate in the shower, believe me, right? And then apply that in your business. So
you also have an option of holding a beer in Hong Kong, which we don't have right now in India.
That's true. That's true. You're lucky I didn't take my beer right now. It's only 11. Yeah.
I think
Thanks
Raj
so
sir
much.
said, what Raj sir said is nice, is very apt right now, is that we need to be together. We need to be united as a industry, share our best practices. If somebody's got some good idea, I think forums like these should be used to share best practices so that we learn. If somebody's got a good idea, I think everyone should be adapting to it from each other. I think that's what all these forums are key to, and attend as many such forums as possible. But we need to be, as an industry, be together right now. I think that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah, I understand. This is, as I was discussing yesterday with Sachin. So this is not a movie. Trust me, this COVID is not a movie. It is going to be a series, something which you watch in Netflix. It's going to stay long, So you have to enjoy the series. That's the whole point. Don't feel that it is going to be a movie and get over in 2 months.
Yeah, but it should have
Just
a happy
gear up.
ending.
Yeah, absolutely. With happy ending, absolutely.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you so much. And thanks to
Thank you,
all
Sachin.
panelists, all participants for joining us today. And we really look forward to meet you soon in the next one. We shall be announcing that very soon. Till then, take care,
Thank you so
stay
much.
safe. Thank you so
Stay safe.
much. Take care.
Thank you everyone. Good to
Bye.
connect.
See you. Thanks.
Bye-bye.